Welcome to Discovery Tech. In this episode, we're looking at how advancements in computer technology have impacted cameras in some cool and interesting ways. First, we'll have a look at microphotography. Next, we'll check out the impact of 3D printing technology on photography. And then we'll finish things up with a glimpse into the world of cameras and augmented reality. One example of how the advancement of computers has impacted photography is our ability to photograph extremely small things. A photomicrograph, also called a microphotograph, is a photograph taken by a microscope. These pictures are used in fields like botany, zoology, chemistry, and medicine. This type of photography is so popular that it's not only prevalent in many research facilities around the world, but there are also yearly competitions which showcase pictures and videos of the micro realm. There's been a massive growth in technology related to digital imaging ever since powerful computer software and hardware now makes it possible to capture images from microscopy. This used to be extremely challenging because of the high resolution, color fidelity, and limited lighting demands. These digital images are also easily copied, emailed, and archived because of advances in electronic communications. However, in contrast to everyday digital cameras, which are easy to point and click, traditional photomicrography on film requires some knowledge of photographic technique, like knowledge of apertures, lenses, shutter speeds, color temperature, and depth of field. When photomicrographs are taken using digital technologies, a lot of these factors are easier to manage using software, and costs of film and processing film are avoided. Users are able to capture images instantly. This is so important given the subject of microscopy can be rapidly changing or may even cease to exist within minutes or seconds. Here is the user interface for ACT, the Automatic Camera Tamer. This is software used for the DXM1200 digital camera system. The user inserts a card into the computer motherboard and the software controls input and output. New technology has been released by Nikon to further photomicrography by increasing the number of pixels on the chip, also known as the resolution of the picture. Resolution is usually stated as the size of the charged coupled device, the CCD, even though the size of the individual pictures are not the same on different types of CCDs. For microscopy, an ideal pixel size is 6.7 micrometers. The DXM1200 is able to output images with about 12 million pixels, rivaling traditional 35mm film and even surpassing it for enlargement purposes.
Next, we will be examining how 3D printing technology has affected the world of photography as we know it today. We are very rapidly expanding our horizons and entering a world of multiple possibilities. One of the many ingenious inventions we have created to this date is a 3D printer. It has vast capabilities, and what we can do with it today already paints a vivid, bright image of the things we will be able to do tomorrow. From pizza to body organs to photographs, 3D printing has created a range of new possibilities never before imagined. One of such impacts of this technology is the 3D printed photograph. Photographical technology has advanced to such a level that in some parts of the world, 3D photo booth services are offered to create the lifelike and incredibly precise figurines of living human beings for a price. These figures are created by 3D scanning the individual and then converting the data into a miniature individual. This is an example of how mundane, regular headshots and portraits can be turned into something spectacular and is thus the pinnacle of technological architecture. With the help of 3D printing, 2D photographs can be made into 3D portraits, and not just figures. Many 3D images embody the texture and feel of the same life they represent, such as the feeling of roughness and erosion on rocks and the sharp edges of bark on trees. Technician Amanda Gassé, for instance, has created stunning 3D representations of still life from regular, everyday photographs that maximize the realism one can experience simply from touch and feel. 3D printing has also allowed for landscapes and maps to become enhanced to include the physical feel of rolling hills, the heights of mountains, and the cracks of valleys. Students of the future will gain a better understanding of the world through these visual 3D printed models of landscapes and terrains. In addition, not only has 3D printing made images more realistic to those who can see them, they have also done the same for those who cannot. In January 2014, just mere months ago, NASA has proudly announced the invention of 3D printed Braille images representing shots of space for the visually impaired. This representation of space has allowed the blind to attain a better understanding of the world around them. So how is it done? The very first thing to remember about 3D printers and their process is that despite sharing a name, they are very much unlike the standard paper printers that we have. A 3D printer is comprised of two parts, the printing head and the building box, the latter of which performs the actual construction of the material. The process begins with an idea, a design. This design is constructed on the computer and processed through the 3D printer. The building box contains the necessary materials to make your desired object come to life. Usually the materials are either powder, plastic, or even melted ink, as well as an array of various other chemicals. Beginning from the bottom, the 3D printer begins to cut blade-thin layers and pile them on top of each other, thus creating the bottom of the object. Meanwhile, the printer head sprays layers of binding glue between each layer, preventing them from falling apart and seaming together the object. This very same concept applies to photography as well. The layers of artwork are built upwards, and from powder and glue arises a beautiful work of art. 3D printing technology has brought a whole new meaning to photography and has the potential to enhance our quality of life in the years to come. No longer do we have to stare at our screens solemnly, wishing that the 3D images we see on our screen were as real as they looked. Now, it can be a reality.
Augmented reality, also known as AR, is a live, copy, view of a physical real-world environment whose elements are augmented or supplemented by a computer-generated sensory input such as sound, video, graphics, or GPS data. This relates to a more generalized concept called mediated reality, which means views of the reality being modified by a computer. This technology allows the enhancement of someone's grasp of reality. Using AR technology allows information from the real world for the user to become interactive and be able to be manipulated digitally. Augmented reality first came up in the 1950s, but really started to advance in the 1990s. Today, augmented reality is making its way to the top of the market by working with top brands and companies. Augmented reality is shaping a new way to teach and learn, not just in a classroom setting, but even for employment such as becoming a surgeon. The biggest breakthrough for AR must be the ability to bridge the gap between what is digital and what is the real world. The use of AR has evolved in different ways from interactive to 3D experiences. A few prime examples of the use of AR are geolocation. This allows the user to use GPS to map out where they either are or what they're looking to make their destination to, and provides a virtual view of the location, known to some as Street View, and would include things like restaurants, bars, and stores, just to name a few. Educationally, AR is able to allow the instructor or professor to show a digital imaging 3D style of objects to allow students to get a visual of the dynamics of what is being taught. Also, AR systems are able to recreate events, make regular books into 3D images, and even present structures in the galaxy in real time. Here's a video to show you AR in action. Take a look at Google Glass.
Okay, Glass, record a video.
This is it. We're on in 2 minutes.
Okay, Glass, hang out with the Flying Club.
Google photos of tiger heads.
You ready? You ready?
Right there. Okay, Glass, take a picture.
Holy sh**. That is awesome.
Okay, class, record a video!
After this bridge, first exit.
From this video, you've seen some great examples of how cameras and printers are leaping forward in exciting new directions because of advancements in computer technology. Thanks for watching!